What's up, everybody? So today I'm making a little bit of a system performance type of video. Um, this is mostly going to be on par with, or it's going to be for gaming, so mostly, but it can increase performance for your system alone on its own. So we're going to go over a couple of things that I do on a normal basis every single time I reset my PC. If you have a fresh brand new install of Windows, this is perfect for that. If you're a longtime Windows user, you haven't really cleaned up your PC at all, you haven't really boosted it performance. This is the best way to do it, in my opinion. There are other ways to do it, but this is how I go about it. If you look up other videos, some videos have the same exact things that I have on here, so we're gonna go over it a little bit. I have a little notepad here I am gonna be reading off of and kind of going over a little bit. If you want to pause the video and kind of check it out, you can. Um, but let's get started. So the first thing I wanted to mention to y'all was an FPS cap for games. So I have Fortnite opened up here, just for an example. But if we go to your settings and you go to your frame rate limit, this is going to be very important. So depending on what kind of computer you have, if you have a laptop, cap your frame rate, right? A lot of laptops, especially nowadays, they're generally able to handle, if it's a gaming laptop, they're generally able to handle about 120 FPS, if not more. But the thing is like if you cap it to a lower FPS, that means your system is not gonna get as hot when you're gaming. Now there are some like upsides and downsides to capping your frame rate. One being like input lag of your like when you're actually playing the game. um, so in other words, how input lag meaning like how quickly uh the input that I input on my mouse. So if I click my mouse, right, and I go to shoot my weapon and I left click my mouse to shoot something or somebody in the game, essentially how quick does it react or how quick does your game interact with your individual click. This is very important for a lot of different reasons because if you're playing on a laptop, capping your FPS can um, specifically increase that delay, which is very significant. But if you're playing single player games, it's not that big of a deal. Realistically, you want a lower frame rate on single player games, anyways, because like at least 60 frames, 60 FPS. But I mean, it's all dependent on you realistically. But if you're on like a gaming PC, then you can usually I like to cap mine at 144 FPS. I don't have liquid cooling. I have just the normal fans that I have on the PC. So that's just something to keep in mind um, for that. But yeah, capping FPS very important for gaming. I have mine at 144 because why not? That's like a middle ground between the 60 frames, 144 FPS, and the 240 FPS. Obviously, um, the higher the frames, the less input lag of your inputs, as well as just overall the smoothness of the game. But that's all dependent on your system. If your system can't run more than a certain amount of frame rate, then obviously, cap it to where it can be capped, but don't over cap it because it's not going to help you any if you're not getting that frame rate consistently. Um, so, like, if you're playing Fortnite, for example, and you get 90 frames and you're in fights constantly for 90 FPS or 90 frames per second, then just cap it at 90 frames. That's fine. You don't have to, but I would recommend it, right? That way you're just used to the 90 frames. Because if you're at, like, for example, 240 FPS at one point, and then you get into a fight and it goes down to, 60 frames or 90 frames or whatever, um, it's going to really take a chunk off of your performance, it's just going to hurt overall. So, anyways, capping your FPS can help long term as well for your laptops, for your PCs, just so it doesn't generate as much heat on your PC, thus allowing your computer to actually be able to live a lot longer, if that makes sense. Now, with that being said, outside of the FPS cap, resolution can make a difference. Obviously, if you have more than one monitor and you're playing on windowed full screen, then you can't really change the resolution unless you go like into your NVIDIA settings or your NVIDIA settings and change the resolution that way. But that's kind of that's out of my expertise. I don't really like to do any of that personally. I just don't find it's worth my time. I like the native resolution of of my screen anyways. So that's just me. So it really depends on, if you want to change the resolution in that way, but yeah. Um let's see. So the next thing on my list here is to update your PC drivers. So if you open up, click the Windows button here, you open up your NVIDIA um your NVIDIA app. You're going to go to the NVIDIA app. You're going to go to your drivers, right? You're going to check for updates and then install any drivers. Once the drivers are installed, you're going to restart your system and then come back to the video. Okay, now that that's finished, here's a few things that will help you kind of boost your system performance. So a few scans here that are going to allow to help kind of keep up your system health and to repair any kind of corruption that has, if you've used your computer for such a long time and you need to kind of repair some of that like corruption, or if your games are kind of lagging at some points and you're not really sure why, your FPS is a lot lower than normal and your computer just feels stuttery and all that good stuff. Well, I mean, it's not good, but you know what I'm talking about. You want to open up Windows here and you're going to type in CMD as command prompt. You're going to right click it, run as administrator. You're going to click yes. And then once this command prompt has opened, you're going to type in sfc/scan now. Exactly like it is, sfc/scan now. You're going to click enter. It's going to do a little scan. I've scanned this just a second ago, but I'm going to let it scan through again, and I'm going to pause the video here, and I'll be right back as soon as it's finished. All right, so it's just about finished here. So on your end, either it says this, Windows Resource Protection did not find any integrity violations, or it might say something along the lines of like, oh, system found corrupted files. Next time you restart, it'll repair the files. Something along the lines of that. So once you're finished with that, that's pretty much it with this. You can close out of the CMD. Again, that's just a quick little scan to help your system kind of keep up its performance and all that good stuff. So just run that every like month and you'll be good. Another command. Sorry, let's go back into the command prompt real quick. Another command is going to be this one. So that is chk, that's check, dsk, that's disk. Whatever your disk is. So in my case, I have a C drive. How you find that out, you go to your Windows, you go to this PC. So if you go to your Windows browser here, or whatever it's called, I don't know. Anyway, you go here, you go to this PC, it's going to tell you what your local disk is. In my case, it is C drive. So I'm going to scan that to the C drive /F, right? So we're going to click enter. Check disk cannot run because the volume is in use by another process. Would you like to schedule this volume to be checked in the next system restart? You type Y for yes, you press enter. And now it says this volume will be checked the next time system restarts. Okay, awesome. That's great. This is essentially just another repair kind of. It's a Windows repair tool that's going to run the next time you boot up your PC. So if there's any corruption that the SFC scan didn't get, then this will help it out a lot. The next command, by the way, I'll have these commands in the link in the description. So go ahead and go down there real quick, check it out. I'll have it in the comments as well, pinned. So just go check the comments, check the link in the description. And these are going to be the copy and paste commands that you're going to copy and paste into the command prompt. Just follow it along with the video and you'll be good to go. Your PC will be in tip-top shape. So here we type in DISM/online/cleanup-image/RestoreHealth. We click enter. Oh, one sec. I think I accidentally put a slash in the beginning of it. Yeah, so that was on me. As you see, it's kind of running a little bit of a scan here. Again, I'm going to pause the video. Once the scan is over, I will be back. All right, and as you can see, scan is complete. It says the restore operation completed successfully. The operation completed successfully, right? So if yours fails for whatever reason, Google it. Usually it's a case of just rerunning the actual command, and it'll run it and it'll complete it and all that good stuff. But if for whatever reason it fails, which it shouldn't, I've never had a failure on it. But if it does, look it up. It might just be something with your system in terms of like parental control or something along those lines. Anyways, we can go ahead and officially close the command prompt. After you run those commands, go ahead and restart your PC again. This is going to ensure that the restore health and all that good stuff runs. And it basically just, it cleans the PC up and you can continue on from here. If you don't want to, that's fine. That's completely up to you. But next up in our optimization here is going to be the NVIDIA app/control panel. So we're going to go open up the NVIDIA app. Okay. We're going to open up the NVIDIA app and we're going to go to, I believe it's graphics. Oh, here we go. Okay, so you go to graphics, global settings. You're going to scroll down. You're going to look for shader cache. You're going to input cache or cache size 10 gigabytes. Now, the reason I suggest 10 gigs, and a lot of people would suggest it online as well, is because it's kind of hard to explain. So if you're pouring water into a cup and you have too much, it's going to overflow. You have too little, you're not going to have enough water in the cup. That's essentially how it is. So that's the best way I can explain it in simple terms, but that's what the shader cache does. So 10 gigabytes, more than enough, a little bit more than enough, and not too little where it's going to be an issue later on. I have automatic shader compilation off. It's in beta. I don't really know what that is. It's off by default. I just keep it off. Next thing you want to do is go to, let's see. So here, power management mode. If you have maximum performance, perfect. If you don't, there is a way to enable it, but you want to go to power management mode, max performance if possible. We will kind of go into that later. Now, the other thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about frame rate. So I have a website here that I'd like to open up. And as you can see here, depending on the frame rate of your monitor. So if I right click on my desktop and I go to display settings, here's a neat little trick. If you're unsure if you're actually using the max possible frame rate of your gaming monitor or just your monitor in general, what you could do is you right click your desktop, you go to display settings. This opens up, you scroll all the way down and you click on advanced display settings. And then this is kind of going to give you an overview about your current monitor that is selected. In my case, this is my first monitor that is selected. The refresh rate on it is the highest it can possibly be. As you can see, I click the refresh rate. Normally, it's going to be like 60, 59 point whatever for like the normal, like non-gamer or non-gaming monitors. But for gaming monitors, it's generally going to be higher. So for me, it's 239, right? Well, 240 hertz in my case. This is going to smooth up your display. This is going to smooth up a lot of different things with your performance as well. So yeah, just check that out. Double check, see if that's something that you can relate to or fix, or something you can do to have a little bit of extra performance. This right here, you might not be able to see it on the video. I'm not too sure how it looks on the video, but basically the 30 FPS, this is essentially talking about, like, so earlier I said if you cap your frame rate, it increases like the input lag and all this different stuff. Essentially, this is what it kind of looks like. When you have a lower frame rate, your frame rate depends on the game. So if you have a target that is moving from left to right, in this case, we're looking at the little alien here in a spaceship. As you can see, 30 frame rate looks really choppy. 240 FPS looks pretty dang smooth. Now, again, I don't know how it looks on the actual video for you guys, but it looks really smooth for me. This is kind of a reference point for you if you're looking to kind of get like a better monitor. The minimum that I would suggest is 144 hertz monitor. That's what I would suggest. But really look into it. Look into your, look into the monitors. Really look at what you think and what you know you would want, rather than just seeing the first monitor that's 144. It's the cheapest. Just buy that. No, you don't want to do that. You want to make sure the monitor has good colors on it and everything, because sometimes when you look at a monitor in a certain direction, like if you look at it from the side, which generally we're going to be looking at a monitor from the front, but if you're looking at it from the side and so on, it can kind of like disorient, I guess, the monitor itself, and that's not very good. You don't want a monitor that does that. So anyways, yeah, this is kind of this is our reference point here, by the way. Um, anyways, so just check this website out if you're interested in seeing how, how smooth things look for your current screen and everything like that. With your refresh rate and stuff like that. It's going to help out a lot. The next thing we're going to be looking over is control panel. So if we open up the NVIDIA control panel, this is for performance. So let's see. This opens up right here. The very first thing that opens up is manage 3D settings. We want to go to adjust image settings with preview. You want to use my preference emphasizing. So you click that, you drag it all the way to performance. And then once you click apply, you want to go to manage 3D settings. Now for this is on global settings right now. My global settings are as they are. Remember that shader cache, or the shader cache we changed earlier to 10 gigabytes? This is what you want to change as well if it doesn't show up here. You want to change that. Preferred refresh rate on your monitor. If you have that option, put the highest available. Power management mode, prefer maximum performance. And then you want to scroll down, and you don't have to copy it word for word or exactly how it is. You can also Google things if you're unsure what it is, so you can learn about it, know what it is. For me, I already know. Anisotropic sample option, whatever it is that's after that, you want to do on, at least for me. And then for negative LOD bias, we have allow. Texture filter quality, we have high performance. Trilinear optimization is on. Threaded optimization is auto. Triple buffering off. VSync off. So VSync off is really good, especially if you have higher refresh rates. So essentially what VSync is, and by the way, always disable VSync in every single game known to man. VSync does not help at all. If you're trying to get the maximum amount of performance out of your system, or just out of your game in general, disable VSync. VSync is a terrible option. Terrible option. It just should not exist. I don't know why it exists to begin with. It's a terrible option. Anyways, If you're curious what it is, look it up. It basically just introduces it introduces delay to your inputs, and it is a horrible, horrible thing to have for gaming. So always have VSync off, always have triple buffering off, no matter what. They are terrible options. These I don't really know. I don't really care what these things do. The virtual reality pre-render frames and all that stuff. I don't bother with it, to be honest. Another thing you can do, by the way, is if you go to change resolution. If you are on change resolution here and you click your first monitor, which in my case is the BenQ EX270M, if you look at all of these different resolutions, you click on one. So in my case, I have PC 1920 by 1080, or I can go to the very top for 4K or 2K or whatever. I can click on this one. It'll give me a lower refresh rate. I don't care for 4K, honestly. I'd rather have just a normal 1080p. That's just me personally. So that's how I've always gamed. It's how I'm going to game for a long time. So that's me. I'm going to go 1920 by 1080. You can check your refresh rate here. As you can see, it goes from 144 to 240. Always choose the highest refresh rate you possibly can for your monitor at all times. You can do it for your second monitor as well. So in this case, I'm going to do 240. You click apply, you click OK or whatever. You close out of that. That's good to go. That's all set up. Now your refresh rate is all set up. You're ready to go, ready to game, right? Wrong. We're not ready to game yet. What we want to do, what we want to do now is we want to type in. So you're going to open up your Windows. You're going to type in %temp%. You're going to open that up. You're going to click here or anywhere in this blank space. Click and hold Control and click A. So Control A, you're going to highlight every single file that's in here. You're going to click delete. You're going to do this for all current items. Click skip. Or obviously, if you're on like a shorter keyboard, I know a lot of keyboards nowadays, they're very small. So what you can do is just Control A, right click, delete, right? Same thing, the same process we just did right now. You can close out of that. Next, you want to open up your Windows key again. You want to type in Prefetch, Prefetch, Prefetch. Oh, what the heck? Why did it open up run? That's weird. Anyway, so if it opens up your run command, just type in Prefetch. Click continue. Again, click in a blank space here, Control A, click delete, or right click delete. Do this for all current items, skip. You can close that. Next, we want to do disk. So you want to open up your Windows key, type in disk cleanup. This little Windows utility item will pop up. In my case, I don't really have too much to delete here. You might have gigabytes upon gigabytes of storage you can delete, but for me, it's not too bad. Only 1.32, right? For me, what I like to do is I like to click on at this bottom area. It says clean up system files. I like to click on that. Let it do its thing for a second. It opens up this. It's going to acquire a little bit more space for you, but also it depends on there's one thing on here you don't need to delete, and I think it's the Windows update something whatever. It might be the log files or something. I don't really care. I don't need it. Google it if you're curious, but like 90% of the stuff that's in here you really do not need. So you just press OK, you click delete files. It's not going to delete anything crazy or anything, wild. If for whatever reason you have stuff in your recycle bin, by the way, it is good to go through the recycle bin if you're curious. So with that being said, we're gonna go to we're gonna open up the Windows Explorer again. We're gonna type in disk defrag. We're gonna open up the defrag and optimization drives. Two things you want to look for here: solid state drive, or the I believe it's the hard drive, if I'm not mistaken. So there's an SSD and an HHD. So, or HDD, whatever. I don't know. Hard disk drive. Yeah, HDD. Thank you. So you want to, if it's an SSD, solid state drive, you just want to click optimize. If it's a HDD or a hard disk drive, you want to click analyze. Once it's finished analyzing, then you want to click optimize. Now, these things do take time as well, just a heads up there. Another thing I would suggest doing is turning off scheduled optimization for your SSD drives. Really bad idea to have them on because it will analyze and then optimize. You do not want it to analyze your SSD. It uses up more resources. It basically just kills your SSD faster. So the idea is you want to only optimize your SSDs on the weekly or at least on the monthly. I like to do this every month to upkeep my SSD and increase its overall performance and health. So anyways, there's that. We type in run, and then in here we type in shell :apps folder. I've already typed this in before. We enter that. It's going to show every app that you have installed on your PC. In my case, it's a bunch of games and stuff. That's pretty much all I really install on this computer. What we want to do is go through here, and this will kind of show what games and apps you have on your PC. If you're unsure what something is, Google it. Make sure you're not deleting something important. But then after you've done this, then you open up your Windows key again, and you type in add or remove programs. This is going to pop up. Then you scroll down to whatever program you have installed that you saw in the shells folder. And then you click on it, you click uninstall. That uninstalls, you're good to go. The next thing is background apps and processes. So the idea with this is when you boot up your PC, there's a bunch of startup apps that pop up that just start up normally. So if you've downloaded a bunch of games, just a bunch of different stuff. So for example, if I have Spotify, I have Battle.net, I have what else? Yeah, these are good examples. So Battle.net's going to start up here in a second. Right? Okay. So the idea is in this little area here on the bottom right, we have a bunch of different programs that are open right now. These are programs that have started up automatically when my PC starts up. Now, what you can do is either every time you start up your PC, you can manually disable these or exit them, I guess, by right-clicking on them, clicking exit, right? Then you right click, exit, boom. So Spotify and Battle.net are gone. So we don't need to worry about that anymore, right? It's gone. We got that process ended. We have more, I guess, physical storage or whatever, shader cache. I don't know. Anyway, all that good stuff. Basically, yeah, it's more beneficial, in other words, to actually have a bunch of those unwanted games and apps right here just gone, right? So the idea is you just don't want them to be starting up. So what you're going to do is you're going to open up your Windows key, you type in msconfig. You're going to click enter, or you can press, system config right there. A couple things I'd like you to do: you go to boot, you click on advanced options here. You click on number of processors. Make sure this is checked. Click on this, go to the highest you possibly can. In my case, it's 16. You're going to click OK. And then here for the timeout, you're going to type in 3 seconds. You're going to click apply. OK. Next, you're going to do is you go to startup, you go to open task manager, and then you're going to double click on this status button right here. This is going to allow you to see what is enabled, what is disabled. In my case, I have a bunch of the stuff I don't need disabled. This is essentially just startup. So startup processes. Essentially, when you boot up your PC, as we said before, the Spotify, I don't have to worry about exiting that at the beginning of the PC startup. If you're in BattleNet as well, or any apps or basically any apps, you go into the settings, you can disable startup on those, and then you're good to go. That's essentially what I do. So this helps for just starting up your PC and making sure you have as much performance as possible right off the get-go. After that, you click apply, you click OK. Next, what we're going to do is utilize some of the system resources that you have. So a big one is going to be your virtual memory. What does this mean? Well, virtual memory essentially is like if we go to system information. So virtual memory is how much RAM essentially. It kind of goes hand in hand with your RAM. So the idea is if you have 32 sticks or 32 gigabytes of RAM, this is perfect because then you can kind of multiply it by a certain amount, put it into this thing that I'm going to tell you right now. So let's open up Windows again. Let's go to Advanced System Settings, right? Do Advanced System Settings. We're going to open that up. Next, we're going to click on Performance Settings. We're going to click on Adjust for Best Performance. Now, something you can do here is if you saw what I had already on Custom, you can enable these and your system will run fine and run perfect. This is what I prefer personally for all these check marks. If you want to run these, you can. If you want performance, go for it. One thing I found out about this is show thumbnails instead of icons. Make sure that is absolutely ticked at all times, because if you do adjust for best performance and you go into your pictures are not going to be showing. The actual like image of your picture is not going to be showing. So what you want to do is you want to show where is it? Thumbnails instead of icons. So this is going to help for allowing you to understand and look at your pictures and be like, okay, this is this picture, this is that picture, rather than looking at the name and just being like, okay, this is this picture through the name, right? So that allows you to understand and look at the pictures and be like, okay, that's that picture, right? In my case, I just did custom and I have these as my custom stuff here. Next, you're going to go to the advanced tab. You're going to click on programs. So adjust for best performance programs. Under virtual memory, we're going to change this. So for you, it's going to be automatically managing file size for all drives. You're going to untick that. Your main drive, where you're gaming on and everything, wherever you have your games installed, or not your games, but your Windows installation, you're going to change that. In my case, it's one drive. I have a C drive, so that's very easy for me to understand where it is. If you're unsure which one you need to change, Google it. It's not that difficult. You're gonna click on custom size, and what you're gonna want to do here is, so let's bring out the calculator real quick. So for every one installed physical memory is 1024. So what we do is we take the total amount we have, so 32 gigabytes of RAM installed, we multiply it by 1024. We get 32,768. Then we multiply that by 1.5. And we get the big number of 49,152. We're going to type that into our initial size. Okay. We're going to type that into our initial size. After that, what you're going to do is type that by, hold on one second, 152 times 2. So once you have your initial size, you're going to type in times 2.0, and you're going to get the big number, the second big number. That is going to be your maximum. So essentially, we're going to go through that one more time. So whatever your installed physical memory or your RAM is, each one is 1024. So you're going to take whatever your number is. In my case, it is 32 gigabytes. If you have 16, you'll do 16. Let's do 16. So 16 times 1024 equals 16384. What we're going to do that is we're going to multiply it by 1.5. This is going to be your initial size. You take that 24,576, multiply that by 2.0. You're going to take this 49,152. You're going to take that, put it into your maximum size. You're going to click OK. In my case, I don't need to click OK. It might ask you to apply it, or it might give you a little warning, whatever. You'll just click OK, or you'll click yes or apply or whatever. And then you're going to click apply, OK, and you're good to go from there. That is going to help maximize your system performance in that regard. Now, here is a bit of a sketchy thing to talk about because it is going to be in your system 32, your system 32 folder. Now, you might be saying, what is this thing you're talking about in system 32? So there is this Windows program that boots up all the time, no matter what. When you're on a game, it is called Game Bar Presence Writer, and what this Game Bar Presence Writer does, it boots up. What this thing does is terrible. This single file is hot garbage. It just should not exist. I don't know why it exists. So let me explain to you what it does. Okay, this is the I made this little chart here. So this is your PC, right? You're gaming, you start up your game. Essentially what it does is it is a server. It is writing information into this server. You want your game to go into the server and into the game, if that makes sense. You don't want your PC to go to the server and then rewrite everything that is going into the game. This is essentially what Game Bar Presence Writer does. When you take that off, when you take Game Bar Presence Writer off, you get rid of this part of it. It's going to increase your FPS and decrease your stuttering. This is perfect for a lot of games because this Windows process is terrible. So if I go and I show you, I have Fortnite already booted up. If you right-click your task manager, when you have a game started up specifically, this is for if you have a game started up. Start up a game, go to task manager, click anywhere on here, literally anywhere. Type in GA. This right here, Game Bar Presence Writer. If you right-click it and you go to details, right? And then you right-click it again and you click on Open File Location. It's going to take you straight to the location where it is. Now, as you can see here, I have done this multiple times to get rid of it. Okay. Now, the thing is, you can never get rid of this file. So let me close Fortnite because you don't want a game open when this file is actually active. You want to be able to disable this file when every single game is closed. You don't want to mess with this file while it is active because it won't allow you to actually change anything. You won't be able to change the name. That's essentially what we're doing, by the way, is changing the name of the actual file itself so it doesn't start up again. Now, I have a little bit of I have a note here of kind of like what it does. It basically just causes stuttering and input lag. It is a useless Microsoft process that should never exist to begin with, and that is very much true. If you're curious what we're going to be doing, this is the exact thing we are going to be doing right here. So as you can see in my task manager, the Game Bar Presence Writer is not active right now because we closed our games. Again, I emphasize that very greatly, very heavily. Close your game. Make sure it's not running. The Game Bar Presence Writer, make sure that's not running. So anyways, if you're curious where this file is as well, If you didn't go through, right clicking it and, file location, all that stuff, what you want to do is you want to open up your file explorer here. You want to go to this PC, go to your local disk, wherever you have Windows installed, go to Windows, type in SYS, click on System32, click anywhere in this empty area, type in GA, and it should pop up. So that's two ways you can find it. We're gonna go with the second way. Obviously, this is normally the way I found it, so this is the way that we're gonna go about it. Now, again, I emphasize this very greatly. We're not gonna be running this. We're not gonna be deleting it. It has nothing to do with deleting anything. So if you're very much just unsure of what to do here, just follow through my steps. You will be fine. You cannot mess this up. There's not a single thing you can do to mess this up. So follow through. Make sure you're following me here. All you're doing is renaming the process, as you can see. I've renamed it so many different times, as you can see. So let's go ahead and begin, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to right click. You're going to click on properties. You're going to click on security. The bottom here, you're going to click on advanced. This is going to pop up. You're going to, here at the top, it says Trusted Installer. You're going to click on change. You're going to type in your name. Now, here's the thing. You want to get your name? All you have to do, you click on start menu, you hover over this right here. This is going to give you your name. So in other words, this is your account. So whatever you started your Windows up with, if you started Windows and you typed in your email, your Microsoft email, it had you log in with your Microsoft email. Essentially, this is what you want to type in is your Microsoft email. If you made an offline account like I did, I didn't have to go through all of those steps. So I just was able to type in my alias name, which is Pulse. So what I do is I just type in Pulse here. In your case, you might have to type in whatever your name is here. So if you started your PC with a Microsoft account, type in the Microsoft account. So in other words, it would be like pulse@yahoo.com, which that's not my email, by the way. But if it was, that would be hilarious. Anyways, you want to type in check names, and it should say desktop, whatever, your name, right? Then you're going to click OK. You're going to click apply. This is going to pop up. Windows security. You have just taken ownership of this object. Blah, blah, blah. Click OK. Press OK again. Go back into there, right? So you're going to click back on advanced. And the bottom of this now, you're going to click on change permissions. You're going to click on add. You're going to, at the top, it says select a principal. Click on that, type in your name again, whatever it may be. Check names, make sure this is highlighted and underlined and everything. Click OK. Give yourself full control, okay? Make sure full control is ticked. Make sure all of these are ticked, besides for special permissions, that doesn't matter. Everything else needs to be ticked. So just click on full control, click OK. Click apply, click yes, click OK. Go back into this one last time. And at the top here, where we changed the owner to us, we want to give the permission, we want to give the ownership back to Microsoft. So what you want to type in is NT, and I might get this wrong at first. You want to type in NT service / or that might be a backslash. I don't know my slashes. Anyway, NT service trusted installer. And you want to type it word for word, letter for letter, just like that. Very simple, very easy. NT service / trusted installer. I think that's a backslash actually. Anyway, check names. It should be highlighted and underlined, whatever. You click OK. Now the ownership is back to the Microsoft original, which is Trusted Installer. You're going to click apply. You're going to click OK. Click OK. You can click OK here on this properties. Now you have permission to change the name of this. What I would suggest doing, to change the name, all you have to do is click on it, make sure it's highlighted, click on it again. Don't double click really fast like you're opening a program. Double click slowly. Click, wait, click. That's all you got to do. If you want, you can also just right click it and rename. I am going to rename it to number 17 because this is my 17th time doing this. You're going to click enter. You need to provide admin permission to rename this file. Continue. Yes. Boom, right? So we click on yes. And then now this file is down here. It is number 17. Obviously, I've done this so many different times. So now we'll close this. We'll go to Fortnite. Let me boot up Fortnite real quick. I will be right back. All right. So now that we have Fortnite open and we're going to go to the task manager, right? We're going to click and type in GA. As you can see, no game bar presence writer active. So again, this is not deleting anything. You're not messing with any files. Literally all you're doing is you're taking this specific file that starts up whenever you boot up a game and you're just disabling it by renaming it so it doesn't start up anytime you start up a game. Again, I'm going to say it again. The file is useless. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't benefit you. Just rename it. That's all you're doing. Okay. You can search it up. If you're unsure what it is, you don't want to do it, that's fine. You don't have to. That is fine. If you want stuttering in your games, have stuttering in your games. If you want lag in your games, that's fine. That's up to you. I'll leave that up to you. But I've been doing it for years. So take it from me. I've been doing it for years. Just understand that. Anyways, we can close out of this. And then also there's one more thing I wanted to go over. So I'm going to close Fortnite. And earlier I was talking about performance. So you know how earlier we went into like the NVIDIA, I believe it was the control panel, right? And I went to the global settings. Let me show you. I went here, I scrolled down, and power management mode was prefer max performance, right? So if that option does not pop up, what I want you to do is go to your settings, and I kind of found it here. So what you want to do is you want to go to settings because I forgot about it. I'm not gonna lie at one point. So I was like, yeah, I gotta write that down, but I was like, no, I'll just do it now. So we'll go to system. We will go to power and sleep. We will go to additional power settings. And then here, you probably won't have it on high performance immediately. So what you want to do is go to create a power plan, name it whatever you want. I would suggest like high performance or my power plan or whatever. You're going to click on high performance and then boom, that's going to be your power plan. You click on next, click on never. If you're on a laptop, however, this can be very beneficial. Never put your computer to sleep ever, by the way. Always just restart it or turn it off. Very, very important. Turn off display, never. Obviously, I don't like to, but if you're on a laptop, this can actually save your laptop for longer periods of time. Not only performance wise, but just memory wise and all that good stuff. So just always do never if you're on like a normal PC. You click on create, and then here it is, right? I clicked on cancel because I don't need it, but high performance, right? Let's see. There was one more thing I wanted to kind of go over. Did this one? Oh, yes. Okay. So right here, turn on fast startup. Don't ever have that on. Search it up if you'd like, but what I like to do is I like to keep this off. Now, this is very important because it says this helps start your PC faster after shutdown. This is a horrible thing to do. And the reason for it is because when you go to restart your PC, it essentially, like, let's say I restarted my PC, I have OBS, my recording software open, I have all of these tabs open that you're seeing now. When you restart, it's going to keep that in the memory if you have fast startup on. So you want to turn that off. Always. There's no reason for it. Um, you might be saving a few seconds of being able to start your PC faster or your laptop faster, sure. But like in terms of gaming, for gaming specifically, this is a horrendous thing to have. So always have this off no matter what. Save the setting, save the changes, blah blah blah. Apply it, you'll be good to go. So, um, but yeah, with all that being said, I think that's pretty much it for my performance. There is something called like XMP or whatever, but you need to go into your BIOS, your system BIOS. I'll have that link in sorry, I cannot talk today. I will have that linked in the description. The extra videos, any extra videos, any extra information I can find on this, anything that I can help you guys out for system performance. I'm gonna have that in the description and in the comments. Just check those out, you know. And yeah. So with that being said, guys, if I hope this helps you guys, and um I hope this helps with performance. It helps me a lot, very significantly. I have looked these tips up for years and years. I've accumulated all these different things, and I wanted to bring it to light because I feel like it's not very well known. But also, like, I wanted to help my friends as well because I can't really explain all these things to them and have them do all these things right at the tip of my fingers. I'd like to help them out right away, but it's like sometimes we just don't have the time. I'm hoping this will help a lot. But yeah, with that being said, guys, happy gaming, and I'll see you guys later.